Hello and welcome to Reviews. I'm feeling a little bit better now. I think I'm on the upswing. Still got a lot of stuff in my chest here, so I just had a coughing fit, so I'm going to try and keep my voice going. It's kind of cutting in and out. But when I picked this up when I was getting sick, I knew I had to wait until I got better. Um, when I was feeling really badly, I just was not able to handle this book. Um, because this book is it's bad. It's hateful. But I figured out what this book is. What the elevator pitch was for this book. Um, in case you don't know, an elevator pitch is basically if you have a story idea, whether it be a novel or movie or whatever. The elevator pitch is if you're in an elevator with an executive, what is that short sentence, a couple sentences to sell your idea? That's an elevator pitch. And basically, I figured out what the elevator pitch was for this book. What if the Scooby Gang were all a-holes? Okay, maybe all non-white a-holes. I think that's how this was pitched. Frank, he would be Fred. Quinte would be Shaggy because he's really bonded with the Chupacabra, who would be Scooby. Amy is Velma because she's been doing all the research, and that would make Julieta, whom I forgot Spanish. I've been calling her Julieta. Julieta would be Daphne. And I think that's what this book is, to go with the whole spookiness of everything. It's if the Scooby Gang were all a-holes. And I think I can say that, because I've now said it 3 times. Oh boy, this book. Like I said, I was going to do this Wednesday night, and that's when I really started getting sick. And I was like, no, I can't do it. And this book is bad. This is what they relaunched Vertigo. This was the main one. This is the first one they brought out of the gate. And oh, oh, one thing. Do not make a drinking game out of swearing, because if you were to do that, every time they swear in this book, you'd have alcohol poisoning. I thought about actually checking off as I was going through the video. All the gratuitous swearing. And I'm not a prude. I'm not, I can have a potty mouth, myself. But when you're doing it, after a while, it just becomes white noise. It loses all effect, and it sounds like you're becoming edgy. But you know what? That's like the most minor complaint of this book. Um, the story starts off with Julieta's parents, and I was really surprised by this. Um, she a Spanish girl who moved to Mexico City, um, and her father, a black guy from Brazil whose Spanish was absolute garbage. At first, I thought, yeah, because they don't speak Spanish. Well, I mean, some people speak Spanish in Brazil, but the main language is Portuguese. I was actually surprised they did get that right. So yeah, then her parents ended up bonding, and they worked hard, and then jumped the border into the U.S. Um, as you see, she's pregnant. So then the book does something. I hate when they do this. Okay, so that was the past. We jump to the present. Julieta has no Wi-Fi connection. She's been siphoning off the neighbors. And, it took me a minute at first to realize that this is the present. Because she looks like she's like, I don't know, 13 here. And so, she says, I can't get on the computer. And her parents suggest going to the library. So she goes to the library and, yeah, starts swearing. And, the guy tells her to hush. All right, don't you? Really? This girl has a chip on her shoulder. She is. I think she came out of the womb with an attitude. I mean, you're in a library. Of course, you shouldn't be sitting there swearing over and over. But it turns out she can't get a library card because government paperwork is not a friend to the undocumented American. So then we go to 3 years ago. Now, here's what I mentioned about the whole thing about the art, because except for the hairstyle, she doesn't look 3 years age difference between these panels. You know, look how short she is there. And the reason why this had to be taken place now is, we got the similar hairstyle. Um, but she does mention about normally I go to Amy's to steal her connection, but we're fighting about a stupid boy right now. And 3 years ago is when she meets Amy. I had to go back and reread these couple pages to get it to get the order. So basically, it goes, her parents meet, present day, and then we learn about how she finds out that she was an undocumented American. So, she's got a lot of talent, but it turns out because she's undocumented, she has to quit all her extracurricular activities, her budding newspaper, her basketball team, even the chess club. And here's the funny thing is, we have the the people here who seem kind of bummed. This book, there seems to be like white people who are actually caring for her, but she has to say, uh, "You want to make sure I went through life on the extra hard setting." Really, you know, Latina, black, and undocumented. I'm not up on my foreign affairs. I will be honest on that. But since her mother came over pregnant and she was born on U.S. soil, what's a term for that? There's a term for that actually makes her an American because of that. But I guess maybe because her parents are undocumented. Yeah, she is herself is really, as I understand the law, is not in that bad of a place. It's hard for me to feel for her. But anyway, after she quits everything, this is where she meets Amy and wants to know if she wants to hang out. So then we cut to a rally. Serious, I want you to be safe. Serious about finding immigrants. Okay. Okay. Just. So we have Frank and Quinte standing off to the side, not even getting in the stands. This school has such a lax policy. Students can just come and go, stand on the side of the bleachers without having to get in. And Frank says to Quinte, you're still thinking about that chupacabra? See? And so they get pulled under the bleachers. Man, that's actually pretty cool. Those Snickers ads were working up to something, weren't they? And they're doing I guess it's supposed to be a parody of that guy in Arizona, that sheriff with the prisons and everything. So, of course, all the non-whites are thinking he's a fascist, and staring at him. And others, don't disagree with his politics. And of course, they're all the white guys, of course. And that's why I said when you get to this panel, I'm like, really? Really? So, is this guy right here, is he shouting a yawn? What's going on there? So, anyhow, Frank is gag. That's a sound effect now. Frank finds out the sheriff's deal. Half Mexican, half Italian. Worked to bring down Italian crime gangs because that's actually what you do. How else would you infiltrate them? An Irish guy would not get into the mob very easily. But then his rep for violence and sadism got him ousted back east. So he came to Arizona, and yeah, it gets comical. This is like a comic supervillain, really. I guess maybe that's why they introduced him as a real life superhero. When it gets worse. One time, when a little girl asked him to help get her kitten out of a tree, he invoked the law to ask her parents for her papers, and her entire family deported, including the cat. And he's just giggling. Now, I assume this is Julieta just kind of exaggerating stories, that this isn't real. So, how do you deport a cat? So, of course, with that, we have to. I'm assuming that Julieta is exaggerating or making stuff up, which makes this next part about the tent city where women are denied tampons and men are beaten for not understanding English. Yeah, I can't believe it's an unreliable narrator at this point because you can't do that. Um, you can't deny women feminine hygiene products. If it's enough that Juliet, a high school student, knows, then you know it's out there. Someone is going to raise a fit, okay? Um, so yeah, I don't believe this. You're just painting this guy. You need a villain, and he's cartoony at this point. So yeah, then we get all the swearing and listen to a real cool guy, a cop. So Amy texts the Scooby Gang, and they just leave, just in the middle of assembly, just leave. There's just no rules. There's no control at this high school. Kids just wander in and out, get up in the middle of class and shout, "I'm half Mexican." No one stops them. There's no control. Yet they need some discipline in this world. So anyway, they go back, and they finally see Amy, who, she cut up her face, and she's going through some stuff, and and their reactions. And can I have one of those? One of these hot Cheezos? I have a feeling that somebody's lawyers made a contact to someone at DC, since they did call them Cheetos, which I thought was really weird that they got away with that. So, yeah, if they collect this in trade paperback, I'm sure it's going to be Cheezos from here on out. So here we get the expedition dump. Amy's been doing the research on who is what that we've been seeing, and because she has all kinds of cool books on this, and then we cut over to oh god, Blake. Blake is his name, who is going out walking across to the border. He has been possessed, and I should feel cold. I don't. I don't feel anything except her, whispering to ears that are no longer there. Yeah, hi. I can see your ear. I can see your ear, like, right on the cover here. Yeah, see? See the markings? The head thing? Yeah. That is, you still have ears. Yeah. So then the Scooby Gang, the anti-Scooby Gang, they head out. Yeah, another thing about the desert, he talks about how cold it is. The desert's dark. Okay? How is she reading this book to them in the dark? Okay, I've been to the desert. I spent some time in Arizona. Summer is not my thing out there, but the night it's cold and it's really pretty. Um, so yeah, what is it, boy? Because the chupacabra starts freaking out, and we find that Blake has basically death talking to him, guiding him, controlling him. As I don't even know if I can show some of this language, and he's he's being coerced into opening the border between the worlds. I am going to have to stop it soon, um, and then they see him up at the fence, doing magic stuff, and yeah, again, how are we reading this book? No one has a flashlight. Um, and Frank's eyes go weird, and I don't feel really well all of a sudden. And so the guy with the multiple faces, whose name I can't say, says, no one can open this gate except its guardian. And here he is. Who dares? And that's I told you about God of Borders. And so Julieta gets the great idea, and I really should stop here, but yeah, how much farther can I go? I really got to stop at this page because I think there's only a couple more pages left. Um, so yeah, and she just kills him, just shoots him, and God of Borders, huh? God, what an idiot! And then Frank goes down, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark, and they Cow Showman. Basically, from here on out, Blake says, um, what have you guys done? And basically, they've opened the gates. They've opened the borders, and now everything's flooding in. And this book is bad. This book, the one thing I will say, if I can give this book, I'm trying to find the positive. If I can give this book one credit, is that the protagonists are the ones that screwed things up. They're the ones that just completely. I'm trying to look for a phrase that's PG friendly. That screwed the pooch on this. Um, they they killed the border guard, basically the interdimensional border guard, who was being set up as the big bad, and basically they Snoked him out. They made him like Snoke in that was his name, right? In the Last Jedi, he was being built up as this big bad, in the Last Jedi, and the one before it. I'm already forgetting the Force Awakens, and then he just gets he goes out like a bitch in The Last Jedi. That's what happened here. Now, maybe they'll do something extra dimensional, maybe he can be reborn or something. Since Frank sees him and calls him dad. And this book is hateful. This book it's bad. It's I don't even know why am I doing this to myself. I'm strangely fascinated because it's one of those things that on the surface the premise is is kind of interesting, but once you give it thought, like I said, the anti Scooby Gang is there's no discipline. Everyone has a chip on their shoulder. Oh, and there's one line in here. You remember Frank had problems with authority, and that's why his mom moved him to Arizona. Yeah, there's a thing here about when Julieta wants him to leave early, and he says, uh, uh, "Also, I was hoping to stay to the end so I can get a free police T-shirt." Why? He's been he's been established as a anti-authority character, someone that's had problems. He's had to move between schools. He's already gotten into fights. Why would he be interested in a police T-shirt? Okay, we're 4 issues in. Why are we messing up the characterization already? So yeah, and of course, Amy and Julieta are fighting over a boy, and of course, that boy being Frank. We saw that in the previous issue. Why? There's been no real evidence of that, and yeah, everyone's hateful. These people don't even really like each other. Quinte, he's like the one redeeming character. And he's just kind of along for the ride. And dude, get out. Find a better book. You deserve better than this. Anyway, I couldn't do this when I was sick, and I'm still sick, and I can barely do this because this book ticks me off so much. This is new Vertigo. Yeah, when Vertigo, the original one, they wrapped in Animal Man, Swamp Thing, Sandman. What do we get this time? Border Town. Yay. Anyway, I'm calling it a night. I'm going to go try and get some more sleep in my throat. I have some coughs about to come. So, anyway, thanks again for watching. We're trying to get another video out tomorrow, and I will see you next time.